boys, like, we're gonna do it. And as he's like starting to say, oh, we finally might get over the hump, everyone just turns and says, shut up, like, no, we don't want to hear that. Like, don't mention it. It's kind of like one of those unwritten rules where you just don't mention it and just don't want to jinx anything.
Hello and welcome in to Suns Out, Stangs Out, Radio Western's newest summer Western Mustang sports show. My name is Alex McComb and I'm your host. This is episode number 3 of the show, and I'm joined by recent Western men's volleyball alum, Michael Jones. Michael, thanks for taking the time to be with me today.
Thanks for having me.
So you grew up in Newmarket, played with the Aurora Storm, ended up at Ivy. Walk me through that path. How did volleyball first find you?
My older brother and older sister both played at university. They played at York. My dad, my mom went to York. My uncles, like aunts, like everyone went to York, and I was always the odd one out in the family of cheering for my whole house is a Leafs household, but I was the odd Sens fan, so I was like always out there a little bit. Growing up, I knew I wanted to play OUA and like U Sport volleyball. I started playing in grade 8 or like 14U for Storm. Watching older siblings play, I'm like, this is something I really wanted to do. Then COVID hit in 17U. So 17U and 18U were kind of canceled. Didn't have a ton of film or anything. And then I ended up emailing Jim, our coach, and it was a little bit of a back and forth. Like COVID, it was such a weird time. The season was canceled and everything. But I ended up walking onto the team. I ended up walking onto the team and I went from there. And yeah, then 5 years later, here I am.
What would you say really drew you to Western during the recruiting cycle? What was the big draw to Western?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a setter, so setting's kind of like goalie in a sense of like you're either in or you're not. Like there's only one setter on the court. Kind of like a hockey or a soccer. So they York recruited a setter a year older than me, so that kind of crossed that option off the table, and I knew I didn't want to go and sit behind another person for 4 or 5 years. So I kind of started looking elsewhere. If you would have asked me in back in the day, I would have been like, if I'm not a York line, I would be so surprised. Because I did want to go to York, but it worked out, for the best. And ended up at Western, and couldn't be happier.
Being a varsity student athlete is hard enough. I played on the football team in the pre-pandemic era, so I can kind of relate to the challenge of doing both school and sports. But you also were in Ivy, one of the toughest business schools in the world. What was that experience like, juggling sports and Ivy at the same time?
Yeah, I mean, definitely a time management crunch, but I was able to kind of do it. I applied to Ivy out of high school and I got rejected from the like AEO title. And then this was at the same time I wasn't promised a spot either. So I was in kind of a double whammy of, oh, I don't have a spot on the team or I don't have a spot in Ivy, but I kind of still stuck with it and I said Western's the spot for me. Walked onto the team. First year my marks were pretty good, and then second year I was able to rally together to get into Ivy, and then it was definitely tough balancing especially first year of Ivy, the 8-to-1 schedule with practice, workouts, travel. But I couldn't be happier with the way things turned out.
Now, talking about especially this past season and your Mustang career, you led the country this past season in assists, I believe, if my numbers are right, with 808. You also led the OUA in assists per set for the past 2 seasons, averaging just under 10. What does it take to sustain that kind of consistency in your playmaking and your facilitating ability?
Yeah, I mean, volleyball is kind of like the ultimate team game. I would say it's not like it's really not on me. It's more on my like hitters and attackers. They're able to like put the ball away. Because that's how yeah you get assists at the end of the day. But yeah, we really just played well, like balanced as a team. Everyone kind of bought into the system we played, and we yeah dug the ball a lot, which allowed me to yeah set the ball a lot and get a lot of assists there. So yeah, it although it's like an individual stat, it's such a team game that it doesn't really matter in that sense.
And how do you build, as someone who does a lot of the, facilitating on the court, how do you build trust with your teammates?
Yeah, so stepping on to the court, I was on the bench for the first 3 years, and then kind of when I was going into my fourth year, a whole kind of new group stepped onto the court of people like being first time starters. But we'd be playing together on the bench, getting beat up by the starters or not getting beat up, but putting up battles against the starters when we were in younger years. So yeah, we got to develop a lot of trust and chemistry through that. And then it made it pretty seamless. Like in my fourth year, like 2 years ago, you'd think it'd be like a looking at the start of the year, it was like, oh, this could be rough. Even our coach said this might be a little bit of a rebuild year, but we all kind of knew and believed in ourselves that the work we put in while we were on the what we call box squad, like the bench side, we put in a lot of work and it showed that we were able to put up a good year 2 years ago.
Is there a particular teammate connection that stands out to you over the past 5 years where your chemistry was just impeccable?
Uh, yeah, I mean, I would say I found the middles pretty well. Like Kendall Homnick, he's a roommate. A lot of fun setting him. We had a little joke going that we ran the machines, like the or machines, what we call the middles. We ran them a lot. And if you look at U Sport kind of thing, they were probably leaders, both Kendall and Nick. They were leaders in attempts probably uh, from the middle position. And yeah, I found setting Kendall a lot. It was funny because we were yeah roommates and we had a lot of laughs about some of the performances he was able to put up.
Now, I also want to dive into your green and gold chapter with the Jamaican national team. How does someone from Newmarket, Ontario, end up on the Jamaican senior men's national team? What's the eligibility connection there?
Yeah, so this started back, yeah, with my older brother. He got cut from Team Ontario in like 16U or so, around there. And he was, yeah, really discouraged, thought he should have made the team, and then said, screw that, I'm gonna get my Jamaican citizenship. And then he played for the under 19 team. And how, yeah, we got citizenship in the first place. My dad was born in Kingston and moved to Canada when he was a baby, but since he was born there, we were able to get our citizenship. So when yeah, both my brother and I got cut from Team Ontario, he was able to play for the junior team. This was back pre-COVID, and then after COVID, I was able to play for the senior team. Yeah, which was really fun.
I think that was back in, that would have been 2023 you were playing for them in the qualifying.
Yeah, summer 2023. Like to make it out of so NORCECA is like a big like North American federation, and Kazova is like the Caribbean zone, and they have a tournament like once every 2 years to qualify for NORCECA championships. And yeah, so summer 2023, they had a Kazova, like a Caribbean zonal tournament, and I went down and played in that, which was yeah, like life changing, so fun.
Yeah, I think you played in at least like three different countries during that time. Can you walk me through like that experience, what that was like?
Yeah, I mean it was definitely yeah, quite the culture shock going down to Jamaica in the middle of summer and no AC, no, yeah, everyone thinks, oh, I've played in Jamaica. They think of the beaches and the ocean, but yeah, I was in the middle of the island and I didn't really see a pool or, yeah, much water. Like yeah, no pools, no lakes, no ocean or anything for the whole time I was down there. And then the biggest adjustment was probably the air conditioning. That's one thing I noticed. I was like always hot. Like we'd walk into the gym and it'd be like no warm up needed. I'm ready to go. I'm already hot and warmed up. So
Was there a moment during your international matches where it really hit you, like like I'm playing for my heritage right now?
yeah, so definitely I remember we were in Curacao, like a small Caribbean island, and that's when we got our jerseys and it had yeah, our last names on them and then that's when it like really hit me of like, wow, this is actually something I'm doing and it was yeah, awesome to put on an international jersey.
And you said it was your dad who was born in Kingston.
Yeah, yeah.
What did he think
So
about that whole experience for you?
yeah, he thought it was like the best thing for me because growing up I didn't. Don't want to say I had it easy, but just the North American and Canadian way, like you see life in a different way. But to go down there, and see how the people live, and I lived with when my brother went down to play for the junior team, he stayed with the team manager, and we ended up building like our families built a pretty good relationship. And then when I went down for the senior team, she wasn't the manager, but I was still able to stay at her house with her husband and kids and yeah, it was fun getting to know that whole family.
Now, you also spent, I think, 3 consecutive summers as an intern with the NBA Summer League in Las Vegas. You're a volleyball player. You're representing Jamaica in Olympic qualifying, and then working inside one of the biggest events in pro basketball. What was it like crossing over from the court to the business side of sport?
Yeah, no, it was awesome to say the least. My both I have two family members that work in the league. So my dad works for the Raptors. He's been there for 30 years doing radio broadcast, and then my sister worked at Summer League and then worked for the Raptors, and now she's with the Clippers in LA. So she'd been an intern, and I went down and interned, and I guess it was summer after my first year, I believe. And yeah, it was so cool to see all like the reach the summer league has. Like it's not just a small little tournament. Like although don't get it doesn't get much attention on like national TV, especially in Canada here. It's crazy to see just all the stars that were there and Vegas itself was a really cool city to be in.
Now, I want to go back to your Western career here. Are there specific matches from your time as a Mustang that you'll just always remember?
Yeah, I mean there's yeah, almost like not too many to count, but for sure, uh that quarterfinal in my 2 years ago, in my like fourth year, when we put up a big, like broke a big curse. We were like, yeah, all the Western teams in the past, like Western men's volleyball, made it to nationals in 2013-14 season, and then had like 11 years of quarterfinal losses. Uh, and then the fact that we were able to win that game, there was like a big moment that all the guys still talk about to this day of we were up 2-0 against U of T and like Jonah, one of the starters who had been starting for a while, he was on the bench and in between the sets, like there's a bit of a break, and he turned to all the boys and said, "Boys, like we're gonna do it." And as he's like starting to say, "Oh, we finally might get over the hump," everyone just turns and says, "Shut up! Like, no, we don't want to hear that. Like, don't mention it." It's kind of like a yeah, one of those unwritten rules where you just don't mention it and just yeah, don't want to jinx anything. So that was a yeah, a really fun match that we were able to finally break that curse and get over the hump of the quarterfinal. And then honestly, that semifinal that year we played at Queens, at the Arc. It was a packed gym, like sellout, like not an empty seat in the building. And going into a fifth set, like against the future champs, was a crazy experience. Like going out for the fifth set, like it was so loud, like we could barely hear in timeouts. So you'd have to like yell to each other on the court just to like you can't honestly couldn't even hear. Like you're yelling at each other and like it was just yeah, making things worse a little bit there because you couldn't hear and you were just getting hotter and sweatier the more you tried to communicate. And yeah, the net was like moving. I remember walking out, we called a timeout in the fifth set, and we were walking back out onto the court. And you could just see the net was like shaking and like vibrating from the noise in the gym. It was, yeah, unbelievable. And then keep on the same theme, that bronze medal game at York was, yeah, a lot of fun finally qualifying for nationals. Those three games I'll never forget for sure.
And like you mentioned, that season, that 24-25 season, marked the first time your team made it to the OUA semifinals since that 2013-14 championship year. You were a part of that. You were a big part of that run in 2025. What did it take to bring that standard back throughout the season?
Yeah, I mean, we were definitely like a hungry team, like us being on like for the most part, everyone was it was their first time starting other than our middle. So we had like a lot of guys first time on the court and like really wanted to prove like things. Like I wanted to prove things that like didn't want to like show up the older guys, but be like, I belong out here. And then everyone, all the guys on the court had like a chip on their shoulder for the most part. And we brought in a new assistant coach, like Ben Kirchhoff, helped, and he won 3 OUA golds with McMaster. So it was nice to hear his insight on like what it takes to be like an elite team and just the conversations of like, wow, like we could be going to an OUA final, we could be like it just yeah, those conversations are things we didn't really hear. And it was nice having him there to kind of shed some new light on the game.
Now, your fifth and final season on the team this past year, you were a third team OUA All Star. You were honored with that, and you had a spot at the U Sports Championship just a couple months ago. How do you feel your final season went personally?
Yeah, personally it was like a little yeah, disappointing going into the year. We thought like we won the bronze last year. We're like we had our sights set on bigger and better things and yeah, just a rough semifinal game there and then Nationals was playing the champs, like the U Sport champs. Trinity Western was definitely a shock because that, yeah, Canada West Conference is really strong. So it was a little unfortunate, but yeah, overall, I enjoyed my time. It was really fun getting to play another year with the boys there.
I'm always interested, to hear about the traditions teams have, especially on collegiate teams. Can you tell me a little bit about the traditions on the volleyball team, whether it's a pre-match ritual or something you do at practice or something you do on away trips? What are the traditions of the men's volleyball team at Western?
Yeah, this is gonna be a little bit of a funny one, but Thursday after practice, uh, assuming we have a game on the Friday, we'd always have like a little aura walk around the court, and it started as like a visualization walk, but the boys are definitely a joking bunch and pretty lighthearted, so the visualization turned into like, yeah, some funny walks around the court. Our coach Jim was like, "Yeah, take the time, visualize yourself on the court," and then we'd always go out in the hall and boys would be humming and chuckling and then we'd go do this walk around the court with the lights off and yeah, it was hard. You could hear some smirks all the time and it just helped lighten the mood. Like we could be going into like first game of the year or biggest game of the year at nationals or something like and we'd still kind of keep that same lighthearted like energy and yeah, we just had a lot of fun as a team.
There's a lot of travel required to be a U Sports student athlete. Can you tell me your favorite or funniest, away trip story that maybe doesn't have to do anything with a match or anything?
Yeah, like I would say just yeah, we're a very fun fun team, and we kind of joke that although we might not win every game or like, yeah, end up with the national championship, we have the most fun out of any team in esports. I'm trying to think of yeah, a funny little story here is one time before the game I always get bananas so I don't cramp. It's kind of that Munenori Kawasaki three bananas kind of thing. So I sent uh we were in Toronto at TMU and there's like a Loblaws right underneath and we were warming up for the game and I we had a couple people that didn't dress. So I sent them down to get some bananas and two of them go strolling down and they come back up with these like massive looking bananas. I was like, what are these? And they were plantains. And I guess we didn't know you had to like cook them or do anything to them. So like I tried to eat it and I was like, this is like inedible. And we were just yeah, joking and laughing about that. And then yeah, we luckily squeaked out a win against TMU. But that was yeah, a funny story for sure.
Kind of moving forward, what do you want the next generation of Mustangs to carry forward from your era of the program?
Yeah, I kind of hope Jim, like our coach Jim, has been around for 32 or 33 years. I hope the boys can deliver him an OUA championship. I know he hasn't got one. He's got a lot of silvers, a lot of bronzes, but I hope within the next couple of years before he heads out, he's able to get a championship there. So yeah, I hope the boys can just improve, see the work that it takes to be a good team, and yeah, kind of improve on the results we've had in the past couple of years.
You're an Ivy grad with years of varsity experience, international competition, 3 summers inside the NBA on your resume. What's next for you?
Yeah, so I just signed with an agent, a volleyball agent, a couple weeks ago. So hopefully I can go play a year overseas in Europe, kind of get the traveling experience out of the way, and then kind of settle, like do 1 year. If it goes really well, maybe see where that takes me and what the pro landscape looks like. But the plan is, as of now, is just do kind of 1 year, travel as much as I can, and then come back and start the corporate corporate grind. So yeah, we'll see how that goes.
And when you do get to that chapter of the corporate grind, as you say, how are you thinking about the identity shift when sport ends, like life without volleyball as a daily structure?
Yeah, definitely will. It hasn't hit me yet of like I'm done sports or could be done sports. It's been like such a big part of my life since like a baby, as long as I can remember. But yeah, I'd like some form of job where there's a little bit of competition to it and you can whether that's a sales related job or I just want something where I'm able to keep that competitive edge because volleyball is like a little bit unlike basketball or football or hockey where there's like good like beer league or flag football like leagues. Volleyball, it's playing at like such a high level. There's nothing that really replicates it, and I'm sure it's the same for yeah football. Uh, but I just want to keep that competitive edge or be able to get like be able to get rid of the competitive nature. Like have one outlet of oh, okay, whether it's golf or my job, just something where I can keep the competitiveness alive and still because I know it's something I won't be able to get rid of. So hopefully I can get rid of it and display it in a healthy manner.
What's your advice to a first year student athlete walking into Western today in 2026?
Yeah, I mean, I would say enjoy your time. It goes faster than you can imagine. I know everyone kind of says this, but it really yeah does go by quite quick. Uh, Meet as many people as you can, get as close with your teammates as you can, go to like as many events as you can. I was pretty bad at that, and I'm so thankful for my roommates and things pushing me to go out and go to all these events and things like that. But yeah, I'd definitely say do as much as you can in the 4 or 5 years you have.
And since this show is called Sun's Out, Stangs Out, I have to ask, what does your summer 2026 look like? What are your plans?
Yeah, so I'm waiting around for a contract to go over to Europe. I talked with my agent earlier this week, and he said he'll hopefully find me in something within the next month or two. Uh, so kind of waiting around, seeing where I can end up in September. And I'm working at a golf course here for May and June, and then July and August I'm working at uh, family friends camp that I grew up going to, and yeah, to help and give back to kids and help grow the game is something that I love going to, yeah, going to camp, and yeah, it's an awesome experience.
All right, that's all the questions I have. Thanks, Michael, for being with me today, and congratulations on a great Mustangs career.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
That's it for this episode of Suns Out, Stangs Out. Big thanks to Michael Jones for stopping by. I'm Alex, telling you to keep the heat up and the hooves running. We'll catch you next time on Radio Western.